Vak, Ang and Sattva Abhinay, through that Abhinay, Sthai Bhavan Aswadayanti Sumanasah Prekshaka. Similarly, the Sthai Bhavas are tasted by the Sumanasah Prekshakaha, the spectators. Harshadimja adhigachanti. And the Sumanasaha Prekshakaha, they also experience the joy. So this is the Drishtanta Sutra. Tasmad Natya Rasaha iti abhivakhyata. Now, the most important thing is, for our purpose, that the example of eating and tasting may seem rather crude to those who regard aesthetic pleasure as something too sublime for such gross similes. But Bharat Muni could have hardly chosen a different example. Comparison of sthai bhavas, anubhavas and bhavas, sanchari, with food and spices was natural, and was the comparison of pleasure of eating with the pleasure of watching a play. In the Sutra 1, emergence of rasa is attributed to a union of three elements, namely vibhava, anubhava, vyabhichari bhavas only. Here, sthai bhava is not mentioned. Tatra vibhava, anubhava, vyabhichari sanyoga. There is no mention of. As a constituent element, in Sutra, Drishtanta Sutra, vibhavas are left out of the simile. Does this mean that according to Sutra 2, the Drishtanta Sutra, vibhavas are not necessary in the emergence of rasa? It's impossible. Because nothing will be communicated. As a matter of fact, the term vibhava is not used, but vak, ang, sattva, upetan is used. Which are the vibhavas? It is not so. The two sutras are not mutually contradictory, nor do they imply that rasa emergence from a union of some elements at one time and by a union of some other element at another time happens. The vibhavas and anubhavas, acting and gestures, are inspired not only by vyabhichari bhavas, they are inspired by sthai bhavas much more. If the sthai bhava term is not used in the Rasa Sutra, that doesn't mean that the sthai bhavas are not valid or they are left out. Because without those sthai bhavas, there will be no anubhavas and bhavas of any kind. So you presume that the sthai bhavas are implicit in the first sutra. Although they are not mentioned, there is no uchcharan. Tatra vibhava anubhava vyabhichari sanyogat leaves out, but then because the others are bhav and anubhav are mentioned and they are not possible without sthai bhavas, hence that is to be presumed. Therefore it can be said that the first sutra covers in its ambit the sthai as well. The second sutra explicitly states sthai bhavas are transformed into rasa when they are combined with various bhavas which are expressed through the abhinayas of verbal, gestural and sattvic kind. Therefore it can be presumed that the second sutra covers vibhavas in its ambit. To summarize, in the first sutra, the sthais are not mentioned. But because the anubhavas and the bhavas are mentioned, so we have to presume that the sthais are there. Because there can be no anubhavas without the sthai bhavas. There can be no bhavas. Similarly, vibhavas are not mentioned in the illustrative sutra. But because the other channels, vak, ang, sattva, are mentioned, the vak, ang and sattva, they can happen only in a vibhava, the actor. He is the one. So they are mentioned by another description, but they are also there. In other words, the sthai and the vibhavas therefore are contained in both sutras. And hence, according to the two sutras of Bharat Muni, the net result is that sthayano eva rasatvam apnuvanti. What actually gets transformed into rasa are the sthai bhavas, along with the vyabhichari bhavas. Now, it is from here that a big debate in classical times began. And I don't know how much time I have today to enter into the different classical positions. I will just mention them, but we'll go into these deep analysis tomorrow. So we have about half an hour, but I want you to ask some questions also. Let me just finish this paragraph. Therefore, it can be presumed that the second sutra covers vibhavas in its ambit. The mixture or union that leads to the emergence of rasa consists of four things: vibhavas, anubhavas, vyabhicharis, and sthai bhavas. So these are the four things that create rasa. Reducing the terminology to a plainer language, it can be said that dominant emotions like sexual passion, attachment, anger, fear, and others are transformed into rasa or are tasted as rasa when they are mixed with transitory emotions, vyabhichari bhavas, like guilt, doubt, intoxication, and so forth. This occurs when they are communicated through the verbal and physical acting. On these sutras of Bharat Muni, there have been innumerable commentaries over the ages, but only those written in the last millennium have survived. They have all attempted to make a close analysis of what exactly is the cause of rasa nishpatti. There are some basic questions that have occupied the analysts. Are the constituent agents all capable of transforming into rasa? Or are they catalysts in the presence of which some take its birth? Who experiences rasa? Is the experience of rasa of all those who watch a play, etc., etc.? Now, the first thing which is established is that four things are necessary for rasa: vibhava, anubhava, vyabhichari bhava, and sthai. Right? They produce. Then, which of them gets converted into rasa? All of them? One of them? As stated, sthayano eva rasatvam apnuvat. How does this happen? Can sthai do it without the presence of vyabhichari? Can it certainly not happen without vibhava? So that is taken for granted. Then in what combination? Once there is rasa, who experiences this rasa? Is it the actor? Is it the actor then who is transmitting it to us? Or is it the audience? Do I feel the rasa? Do I understand? Or both of us do? Does it get communicated? Or does he feels his own rasa and I feel my own rasa? So many questions then arise. So here we are now in the realm of a bit of aesthetic analysis. Who feels pleasure? Why one does feel pleasure? And if you feel rasa, then what is the nature of that rasa? And are there many kinds of rasas or only one kind of rasa? Is there something separate called Shringar rasa from Karuna rasa? Or is there just one rasa in which one method of coming to rasa is Karuna, another method or channel is Shringar, Bibhats, etc.? So are there 8 kinds of rasas? Or there is only one kind of rasa? And if there is one kind of rasa, who is experiencing that rasa in my consciousness? Is the person who is, let's say, 40-year-old or 65-year-old or experiencing rasa? The person who is born in this particular lifetime, is living in this part of the world called India? Or is there somebody other than me, within me, who is experiencing a consciousness which is experiencing rasa? How is it possible that if I have not seen certain activities in life or not even felt certain emotions in life, but when I see them on stage, then I experience a rasa in them? You know, I may have been a Bal Brahmachari staying somewhere far away, and then I come to the city and see a beautiful dance, erotic dance performance, and I enjoy it. How is it? I have no experience of even looking at a woman. Then how am I capable of doing capable of experiencing? See, all these psychological questions come to your mind. Or we have seen horror plays or very famous plays like Shakespeare's Macbeth, where there is a murderer, a king who becomes a king by murdering another king. And I enjoy that character. I have never murdered anybody in my life. How am I able to go through the psychology of that person and also enjoy? So these are the questions which have been asked about what is pleasure, what is aesthetic pleasure, then is it different from other kinds of pleasure? And if the innermost part of my consciousness is experiencing pleasure, is it because of the experiences of this lifetime only? Do I enjoy a play more when I see it in presence of others in a hall? Or do I enjoy it more if I am all by myself reading a play? Or by just a few people seeing a play? Or do I enjoy it much more when many people are seeing the play? Does the act of seeing a play along with others make it more interesting? Does it alter rasa? So many questions now come to one's mind. I will now ask you to put up some questions, and then we'll take these questions tomorrow. We will talk about the 4 positions, classical positions, which 4 great commentators made about rasa. The first one was made by Lollat, and there was a presumption that rasa is created on the stage by Lollat. It is called Utpattivada. Then the second position by Shankuk, which says that you do not see the emergence, it's not created, but it is inferred. Because I don't feel the emotion, I cannot feel the emotions of a character who is other than me. So I infer. There is an anumiti, and that is called Anumitivada. And then the third position, which says that my emotions get transformed. Personal emotions get transformed. They become sadharana. And it is that sadharani karana which gives us pleasure. Rasa lies in sadharani karana. And the fourth position, that nobody experiences any pleasure except the innermost consciousness of mine. And this supreme innermost consciousness of mine is enjoying itself always